Regardless of where these bandits are from, they are locally incubated or internationally coordinated. They cannot achieve their set objectives fully in any local environment if they do not have some level of support of the natives or locals there. And so, to weaken them is one of the things that makes it much easier for them to recruit our youth, is because of poverty. Hunger is a major vehicle of poverty, violence, and every negativity that obtains today in every society. So all I'm trying to say, in looking for ways to alleviate this problem, we must also talk about the situation that the citizens of this country are in. An average Nigerian citizen is entangled in poverty. Of course, efforts are being made across board by governments to see that solutions or hunger or poverty is adequately taken care of in the country. But much more needs to be done. And if we take care of poverty, of course it will reduce the rate at which these bandits recruit our youth into their activities. So to me, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, as representatives of the people here, we must at all times ensure that we give support, and not only give support, we look for ways and means that the situation of Nigerians will be better cushioned so that they remain focused and, of course, nationalistic in their thinking and conduct. I so contribute. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, once more, we are faced with another round of debate and speeches on the issue of insecurity. I seize this opportunity, therefore, to sympathize with my colleague and brother, Senator Mongunu, and commiserate with the families of those affected in this current imbroglio. Mr. President, it is sad that we are talking about this issue in spite of the spirited efforts by the government and the armed forces of Nigeria and all other security agencies involved in combating the menace of insecurity. Mr. President, as rightly pointed out by the mover of this motion, time was when the activities of Boko Haram was literally wiped out or decimated. But we will continue to have this recurring decimal in Borno in particular, and then in some other parts, other forms of insecurity activities taking place. Mr. President, like he rightly pointed out, there was a time that this thing was literally nipped in the bud. But unfortunately, I think that what we failed to do was taking some proactive measures to ensure that these insurgents did not come back to the cities. At a point, the idea of holding forces was mooted, in which it was agreed that a special force be trained specifically to hold the liberated areas where Boko Haram activities were taking place. But unfortunately, Mr. President, as it were, nothing of that nature has happened. And so it becomes very easy for Boko Haram and its agents to come back to areas that have been liberated by our armed forces. Mr. President, I think it was suggested on the floor of this Senate before that it doesn't solve our problem if we continue to debate and proffer solutions to the problem of insecurity, especially the activities of Boko Haram, if we do not muster the sufficient courage to give a kind of timeline to our armed forces and our security agents to nip these insecurity activities across the country. Mr. President, I think it is not correct, because I know that the Nigerian military and security agencies are professional enough to know when to start a war and when to end a war. I am not sure that those of us who are living witnesses to the Biafran war noticed that the Biafran war took this long to nip in the bud. Whether it is asymmetrical or normal war, I think that we must find answers to the solution to the problem of our insecurity. And so once more, while I sympathize with the people of the local government occupied by the Boko Haram insurgents, I want to urge the armed forces and our security agents to take very proactive actions in liberating these communities from the hands of these insurgents. I thank you, Mr. President.
Colleagues, my name is Senator Ned Mwoko. I represent the good people of North Delta State. Mr. President, just aligning myself with most of the speakers, but particularly the last speaker, our host rider, Senator Aliu. It's just the fact that there's insecurity across the nation. And we keep talking about it and keep thinking that empowering our soldiers or our police is the solution. I take a different view. I've always said that we must look at the reasons why people are agitating, why people are fighting, why they are willing to carry guns to be killed or kill. You know, we all know, for instance, that tomorrow we are expected to be in Anambra State for the burial of our departed colleague, Senator Uba. But most of the senators that you ask are unwilling to go to Southeast because of the dangers posed by those who are disgruntled. And we cannot have a nation where some parts of the country are no-go areas. It just doesn't make any sense. My solution is a very simple one, and I've said it and I keep saying it. We need to have a national dialogue. We need to bring all the dissenting voices, all the groups that are agitating for one thing or the other. Mr. President, let's talk to them. Let's talk to them, just like the IRA and the British government did over some time ago. You know, we just need to dialogue. That is the only way we can resolve this. But if we just keep thinking that it's about pumping money to the military or buying some attack helicopters, it just wouldn't work. Because you can't kill ideas just with barrels of gun. And most of these people have resolved to die because of how they have seen themselves over time. Deprived, denied, degraded. So, Mr. President, let's look at some other solutions. Whilst I support this particular motion, yes, I do support it, because we must have some interim measures, but let's look at long-term measures. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Adam Oshomo.
My name is Senator Professor Anthony Ani. I represent Ebonyi South. Mr. President, you said it very well. I was in Maiduguri from 1991 to 2013. And that is why when the issue of security of Borno, anytime it is raised, I feel so much concerned. Now, so many people who have spoken on this motion, I stand to support this motion on its entirety. The purpose and intents, I support all of them. Now, I want to align myself very closely to what Senator Abamoro said. So much discussions on security in Nigeria, so much talks on security. I think we see less of action. Security agencies have done their best, but their best to me is not enough until we secure entirely the country. You see, where there is any security challenge, there will be no development. So long a time, since 2008, the security challenge in Borno has been growing in dimension. Of course, it's one of the things that led me, or that made me to leave Maiduguri. I had to leave Maiduguri because of security challenge. And since that time, it has never abated. And people have been talking about it. Does it mean that the security agencies have no solutions to that? Of course, most of the strategies should not be discussed on this floor. But the security people, the agencies, should know the best approaches they should employ to ensure that this is abated. Doing one thing continuously will lead you to getting the same result over and over again. It is time for them to explore other approaches to see that this thing is curtailed. Now, we have to follow this motion. It shouldn't just end in debate. We should follow it, see to it that what has been put as prayers are actualized. Having said that, I thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. We should give our maximum support to this motion. Thank you.
The last speaker.
My name is Karimi. I represent the people of Kogi West. Yes. Security of lives and property is a basic responsibility of government. We are all part of government. If we go into some of our communities, we see the locals contributing one way or the other to the security of their environment. I saw, as part of this prayer, that the government, Nigeria, should establish a military base in a community there. Sometimes we can also lead by example. Like I just discussed with my brother, Senator Ndume. We can come together as the leader of the state to mobilize the legislature in the state to see how we can use part of our National Intervention Fund to contribute something to the security of our environment. If we can secure the lives and properties of our people, that is the best thing we can do for them. Rather than coming and talking every day. We should lead by example. I also discussed with him. You should see the Chadian leader that led his people to the front. It's because he understands that terrain. We can also, as leaders, I told him, lead. He can provide himself as the leader so that I can lead like Chadian president that knows the terrain of that place to lead our military on operation there. So it is leading by example. So we don't just blame everything on government. Our military, they are trying. They are overstretched. And we need to do all possible to come to their aid. Thank you.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. The motion is on the need to deploy adequate security personnel to endangered local government areas in Borno State. The Senate notes that for many years, Borno State has been bedeviled by insurgency, with communities facing one form of attack or the other every now and then. Aware that recently relative peace has been restored in Borno State due to efforts of the Nigerian armed forces, which are commendable. However, some communities are still besieged by insecurity, as Guzamala local government does not have any civil authority in place, no military presence, while Abadam and Marte local government areas need security reinforcement. Also aware that the aforementioned areas are predominantly agrarian communities, with Marte local government area being known for large-scale production of wheat and rice. Worried that communities in those areas are still under the captivity of Boko Haram, and the people have been suffering untold hardship as a result of the insecurity, which has damaged the local economy, infrastructure, and livelihoods herein. And also worried that the absence of military personnel in the areas may cause the insurgents to become more emboldened and attempt to capture surrounding communities, thus ruining the previous efforts by the government to secure the state. Accordingly, resolves to urge the Nigerian armed forces to establish a super camp at Guzama local government area and mobilize adequate personnel to secure Abadam and Marte local government areas of Borno State, and mandate the committees on Army and Air Force to ensure implementation. Mr. President, distinguished senators, it may interest you to know that local government, Guzamala local government, which is one local government from my senatorial district, and a neighboring local government to my own local government of Monguno, is completely under the control, tight control of Boko Haram insurgents, because of the fact that not a single security personnel is found in the whole local government. As a result, civil authority is lost, and Boko Haram are effectively in control of that local government. They have imposed taxes on people, they have imposed levies on people, and there is no security personnel to challenge them, and there is no civil authority that is in existence in that local government because of the presence of Boko Haram and the tight control, the total control they have in that local government. So therefore, we are craving for the indulgence of this Senate to direct the Nigerian military to make their presence felt with a view to repelling the Boko Haram insurgents in that local government, because if we allow them to exist in that local government, they will be further emboldened and have all the luxury to organize and attack other neighboring local governments, particularly my own local government of Monguno and other neighboring local governments, that peace has been restored, civil authority has been restored, and people are started going back to their respective communities to pick the pieces of their lives. So it is very important that this local government is secured and this local government is redeemed from the tight control of Boko Haram, as well as Abadam and Marte local government, that though we have military presence, but they are equally challenged. We need further reinforcements in these two other local governments, while complete repelling of Boko Haram in one local government of Guzamala. Thank you.
Sorry. The former president of the Senate, Senator Amelon, thereafter Senator